What's up, everybody, and thank you so much for listening in to this special little short piece on Story Dose. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that we have taken away the video element, and the reason why is, one, it was a little bit difficult to set that up every single time for our episodes of Story Dose, and two, I felt like it was distracting from the actual point of this entire thing, which is to tell stories. And rather than you sitting there watching me read, I think that it felt better, it felt more natural for us to either just let you guys get lost in the sound of my voice, which allows me to focus on sort of the voice acting side of this thing more so than what you might be seeing on the videos. It also allows us to do things really cool in the future where we get to pull in still shot photos, or where I can actually play movie clips for you guys and just sort of talk over top of them rather than my face being on screen all the time. I feel like it's going to help with the storytelling element of this, which is what this is all about. This is all about the stories. It's all about the craft of stories. This is all about injecting a little piece of story into your lives each day. So I want to focus on that, and I really, really hope that you guys jive with that sort of ideal as well. The second thing, like I said just a second ago, is that we are going to eventually start talking about movies on Story Dose. It's not just going to be books. One, because it's a lot easier for me to keep up the content whenever I'm also talking about film, which is one of my if not my biggest passion. I absolutely adore movies. So by doing such a thing, I feel like it will allow you to watch the clip and then for us to go through and give still shots or pictures or references to special things rather than it being focused once again on me. It puts the emphasis on the story, on the actors, on the film, on the book, whatever it might be. So I really hope that you guys like this sort of new direction. I really hope that you guys like and subscribe, drop a comment down below and tell me what types of movies and stories and books that you want to hear me sort of break down and get into and pick a special part from. And until then, we will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Story Dose. On this episode, we actually have something that's really special. I am going to be reading a very short segment out of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Now, before you go anywhere, I understand this is a mystery, considered one of the greatest mysteries by many mystery fans of all time. I am not ruining anything. Every little bit of this is still worth your read. This is a very small chapter that I felt like was built to beautifully and that was executed even better without it actually giving away anything to the specific plot. So I want you guys to stick around and listen to this. This is a part where some of the members that have survived so far are getting ready to go to bed, and they're all suspecting one another because they realize that they are all dying from someone in the house. Nobody has guessed that that was the thing, or sorry, everyone has guessed that someone in the house that was a part of this whole thing is the one who is the conspirator, who's the one who is killing everybody, is the murderer, is the actual culprit. Everybody knows that. Before you open the book, you know that one of the people that is at the house is the murderer. It's not that big of a giveaway. So in this particular part, we actually get to see the internal psychology of one of the characters playing out almost like it's on screen. This entire book has been written in such a way that it is almost like reading a script. It goes very, very quickly. It is a wonderful read. It is an easy read. I highly recommend it to everyone. I plopped down and I read it in a single day. It's over 300 pages. I read it in a single day because I literally could not put it down. It is a wonderful piece of artistry. There are a few things that I wish that they had done more with, or at the end of it that I'm like, I would have did this differently, but I'm not Agatha Christie and I haven't sold millions and millions of copies of this book. So we'll say that she was right and that I am wrong. Okay, so this is technically from chapter 13, part 2, because she breaks it down into like scenes and parts, which is really cool. It helps add to that sort of scene and film side of things. And we're going to jump in. At 6:20, Vera felt that to sit there any longer was unbearable. She would go to her room and bathe her aching head and temples in cold water. She got up and went towards the door. Then she remembered and came back down and got a candle out of the box. She lighted it, let a little wax pour onto the saucer, and stuck the candle firmly into it. Then she went out of the room, shutting the door behind her and leaving the 4 men inside. She went up the stairs and along the passage to her room. As she opened her door, she suddenly halted and stood stock still. Her nostrils quivered. The sea. The smell of the sea at St. Trinidad. That was it. She could not have been mistaken. Of course, one smelt the sea on an island anyway, but this was different. It was the smell there had been on the beach that day, when the tide out on the rocks covered with seaweed dried in the sun. "Can I swim out to the island, Miss Claythorne?" "Why can't I swim out to the island?" Horrid, whiny, spoiled little brat. If it weren't for him, Hugo would be rich, able to marry the girl he loved. Hugo. Surely Hugo was beside her. No, waiting for her in the room. She made a step forward. The draught from the window caught the flame of the candle. It flickered and went out. In the dark, she was suddenly afraid. "Don't be a fool," Vera Claythorne urged herself. "It's all right. The others are downstairs, all 4 of them. There's no one in the room. There can't be. You're imagining things, my girl." But that smell of the beach at St. Trinidad, that wasn't imagined. It was true. There was someone in the room. She had heard something. Surely she had heard something. And then, as she stood there, listening, a cold, clammy hand touched her throat, a wet hand, smelling of the sea. That's it. That's all you get for today's story dose. This is wonderful. When you actually read the book, the build up to this moment is incredible. Everyone's on edge. Everyone is thinking that everyone else is out there to kill you, and they're still trying to figure out who the murderer is. And then all of a sudden, Vera feels this wet, clammy hand around her throat, and she swears up and down that it is a ghost or the body of Hugo come back to haunt her. It's really creepy. And the build up to it matters just as much as that payoff, but that payoff really does something incredible for that character later on. And because of the nature of this book, I can't go too much into it, to avoid any more spoilers. Not that I think that there are any in there already, but for anyone that, has ever read this book, you know that I have not given anything away. And for those of you that haven't, I hope that this gives you a reason to go pick up a copy of And Then There Were None. It is an amazing read. There's a reason why people who both love and hate Agatha Christie end up liking this book. It took her 10 years to write, to get it right. And she really did. At the end of the day, she really did. And in the acknowledgement, she says that it takes her 2 epilogues to sort of explain everything and make sure that you caught up with all of the little hints and details. My favorite part about this book, this is the last thing before we go today, is that it's very much in line with the original Sherlock Holmes novels. And that is because you can solve the mystery pretty much along with the characters as they go through. When you read the epilogue and you figure out who done it, you will recognize that you could have solved the mystery yourself. If you were astute enough, you will know who it is. But you also might be tricked. I was tricked in this whole thing. So make sure that you go and pick up your copy of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, and I will catch you on the next episode of Story Dose. See you guys then.